6:30 p.m. We have some virtual members, so we will take roll call attendance. Jennifer?
Present.
Irv?
Present.
Bridget?
Present.
Sarah?
Present.
Deb?
Present.
Anna?
Here.
William?
Here.
And Sarah Bass. In here. Okay, so our first matter of business is public comment. So I received one phone call. Let me pull that up so we can listen to that, and then we can invite our members of the audience to join us for public comment should anyone like to.
As the mother of 5 ARPS graduates and 2 current Crocker Farm students, I've been a parent of children in this district since 2004. Over the past 2 decades, I've been heartbroken many times over the tumult, contention, and bitter divisions between people all declaring their commitment to our schools. Like many, I've questioned whether my own attempts to speak up have mattered or have made a positive difference, but I hope this public comment will help in some small way. My latest heartbreak came when I first heard of anonymous allegations of misconduct against Superintendent Dr. Z and some of her staff. This news flew in the face of my personal experience with the superintendent, who, when I first met her at a public meet and greet during her interview process, struck me as warm, accessible, professional, and sincerely committed to equity, transparency, accountability, and the well-being of all students. This positive first impression was only reinforced when I attended or remotely watched meetings with her, or when I received any of her communications with families. Most recently, I was very grateful to see her letter to families following Inauguration Day, in which she specifically voiced support for LGBTQIA+ people and immigrants. Thank you, Dr. Z, for that compassionate communication, which was unequivocal in its support of vulnerable people and which resonated with sincerity and resolve. I've also been impressed with Dr. Z's data-driven, compassionate vision for our school's future, particularly as the district faces profound funding challenges. I read the ARPS School Committee's draft of a letter to the Town Council advocating for equity between town departments after having reviewed Dr. Z's comprehensive entry review findings report. These impressive documents both left me feeling optimistic about the superintendent's and the school committee's joint advocacy for our schools. Thank you all for your hard work. My optimism on this point was reinforced by the APEA, the Executive Board's recent statement of support for Dr. Z in advancing fiscal transparency and district stability. Like the unanimous school committees, the APEA also spoke out in November against how the unanimous allegations against the superintendent were disseminated. For 2 decades, I've listened very carefully to the APEA because despite all the strife and administrative turnover in our district over the years, I've chosen to keep my children in the Amherst Public Schools because of their teachers. The vast majority of the teachers my 7 children have had over our family's 2 decades in this town have been outstanding educators and compassionate people who've made a real difference in their lives. I therefore hope that as the anonymous accusers come forward with their allegations and the situation evolves, you will listen to the APEA and its executive board. I also hope you will listen to parents like me who hope to support Dr. Z in succeeding in her new position as she attempts to heal rifts that preceded her, as well as those that have sadly emerged in her short tenure. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so if there are members of the public that would like to come up and make a 3-minute comment, when you do, please come and state your name and your connection to the district so we can make sure our minutes are correct. I invite whoever feels like they'd like to start. Sure, have at it. Sure, thank you.
Okay. So I'm Vincent O'Connor. I live at 175 Summer Street, apartment 12. Before I get to my primary topic, I want to say that I wholeheartedly, totally agree with the statement of the regional school committee member who said that the sports programs should be an integral part of the education of students, and that they should be in the budget and not funded by all sorts of other things than tax money. All I have to do is look at private schools that not only have sports programs but require participation in activities that at that age define probably the general health of students who participate for their entire lifetime. My primary topic has to do with the immigration situation that is facing the entire country. And as somebody who knows, has friends, neighbors, relatives, and colleagues and coworkers who are involved, I don't wish that situation on anyone else, but I think it is important to say that even people who are eventually deported should not have to go through the settings, these detention camps that were part of the first administration of the present president. And I think it is important that we do everything in our power as individuals and collectively and as a school committee to make sure that nothing of that sort happens in our schools. And I think I would just recommend, it is very important that every member of the staff who might come in contact with students have written guidance from the administration's attorney as to what they can do and what they cannot do. And certainly, there should be no circumstance under which any federal officer, because the entirety of federal officers have been dragooned into this process of meeting each region's 75 people a day. And they're running out of criminals. So once you run out of people who really should be deported, you end up picking up a lot of people who should never be touched. So I want to urge the administration and the school committee jointly to get competent legal advice, especially about what teachers can and cannot do, what people who enter the schools can and cannot do. Finally, I would just encourage the organizations representing teachers, paraprofessionals, and others who serve the school district so ably to seek their own legal advice and to distribute that legal advice to their members to make sure that no one does anything that will endanger students or create a situation that we will all regret.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Allie Wick-Slim. I'm speaking for the LGBTQIA+ caucus. This caucus formed when the previous superintendent allowed queer and trans students to be harmed and failed to address the systemic issues that contributed to the harm. We organized and advocated for change because we were unwilling to allow the harm to continue. The previous superintendent would not even return emails of stakeholders, let alone meet with us to find ways to protect students. He was comfortable with the status quo, and his administration protected him at the expense of children. Dr. Z has given us regular meetings where we've been able to develop student-focused strategies to repair the harm caused by the previous administration and address needs as they arise. We've experienced her as welcoming, committed, professional, and accessible. The caucus recognizes there may come a time when we'll disagree with Dr. Z or she's unable to meet an ask. That is the nature of her work and ours. If it happens, we feel confident we'll be able to advocate for what we believe while also finding common ground in our shared commitment to putting children first. While we will hold any administrator accountable for protecting LGBTQIA+ students, we would not choose to personally disparage her anonymously and publicly. We would not want to model that behavior for children. Dr. Z has been at ARPS for 1 semester. She was tasked with cleaning up a mess left behind by the previous administration and then judged for the circumstances she walked into on day 1. She arrived at a time when change is desperately needed, and yet it seems like her efforts toward change have been met with resistance. She's faced a series of relentless, anonymous, personal attacks. She's being held to impossible standards. There appears to be no room for her to be human. The caucus is wondering where these standards were under the previous administration. Where were the 12 administrators who filed this recent anonymous complaint when kids were getting hurt and the previous superintendent knowingly allowed it to happen and then lied about it to the public? There were no whistleblowers when we were trying to protect queer and trans kids. Some of the ARPS administration and some members of the broader community appear to be continuing the legacy of prioritizing the comfort of adults over the needs of children. Change is both necessary and challenging. There are bound to be disagreements, but it is how they are addressed that determines the integrity of a community. It would benefit students if adults would address their concerns in a more professional and appropriate way, rather than through anonymous and personal accusations delivered selectively to some media. The amount and type of criticism Dr. Z has faced so early in her time here are unprecedented. It would benefit all of us to take a close look at the roles race and gender play and who is held accountable in Amherst. The caucus asks school committee members to pay close attention to how Dr. Z is being treated by the same community and administration that remained silent when queer and trans kids were being harmed. We feel it's our responsibility to name that Dr. Z has been exceedingly open to every ask we've made to center the needs of children in a system that has historically failed to do so. While we wait for the results of the investigation, please consider the possibility that the ongoing campaign against Dr. Z may be attached to an agenda that has more to do with the wants of adults than the needs of children.
Thank you. Allie, will you email it to me so that I can just attach it? Perfect, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lamika McGee. I'm a dean of students here at the high school, and I'm speaking for the Black Caucus. So first and foremost, we are 100% behind the LGBTQ caucus on this issue. And I just want us to think about where we are in 2025 after January 20th and the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion, belonging initiatives throughout the country. And, you know, I believe that we're lucky. What better person can we have right now than someone who is qualified and highly committed to protecting the most vulnerable, to bringing about equity. In Dr. Z's entry report, recognizing the plethora of issues that have existed in this district for decades. This is an opportunity for us to do better, to get better. We're certainly a diverse community in so many ways. I think if anybody knows me, you know I love working in Amherst because of the diversity. There's a whole lot of things I don't like, but that's one of the things that I truly love is the amount of diversity in Amherst. But what that means is that we have to recognize that the status quo cannot remain. It's been harmful for our students over the years, and we finally have someone who is qualified, knows what to do, has the heart to do it. We cannot let them destroy her and send her away. We have to protect her and shore her up for her to be able to do this kind of work. And there's a way to disagree with people, and this is not a way to disagree with somebody throwing rocks and hiding hands. I'm totally against that. You guys know if I got a problem, you'll see me here. And so if they have a problem, then there's a way to go about recognizing the problem, especially if these are our administrators and professionals who are here in this school district, highly educated people. They should know how to solve problems without, throwing rocks and hiding hands. So once again, totally behind the LGBTQ caucus, the Black Caucus, and we will stand with Dr. Z as long as you are got children 100% in your hearts. We are 100% behind you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Wasn't really planning to speak today, but my name is Georgia Malcolm, and I work in the athletic department, and I decided I wanted to talk about that because the work that Dr. Z is doing, like Victor and I have been in the athletic for like 5-6 years. We have never had a budget. I always said to Victoria, carte blanche, just spend, get what we need, because we could never get one. We have asked, we were never able to. This year we have a budget, and I'm going to be honest also, when I went in, I think Shannon made a comment about that the prior AD and the clerical staff was able to collect more money. The way they were able to do that is having students, the seniors, who owed money for athletics and food services, had to pay before they could go to the prom. And when I went to the athletic department, I told them I am not going to do that because I had kids coming to me trying to make payment arrangements with me. And it's especially black and brown kids. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So we haven't actively collected. Now, Dr. Z and Shannon is like, you need to start collecting. So, so now I'm having to, and it's we don't have an electronic system, so it's painstaking for me, and I'm working with different systems to get that done. We have to be doing cost analysis. Victor has emailed me, get this. So no, we're working on it. We're having to meet on a regular basis with Shannon and Dr. Z. So, I mean, these are the things that never existed, and that's just one department, and that's what I am speaking to. Is that, I remember in a meeting with Dr. Z, she said, I'm not using monopoly money. I'm using real money. So, I mean, there's accountability, and we have to stop it. And it's sad to say this is happening to her because she's a black woman, because they just don't think that she should come in and make the changes that she's trying to make. I mean, you guys gave her a task based on feedback from the community. She possessed the characteristics that you guys were asking for: accountability, transparency, having, she has inherited a cesspool, essentially. Because nothing that is done is correct. The school cannot hold the kids. They're going to have to be different regions. So, I mean, she's having to unpack all of that. And it is so disappointing because when the white administrators are here, they're not questioned. But of course, a black woman is incompetent, and she should not change things. And Amherst is just a microcosm of America. And especially with her new occupant, people are feeling more emboldened. And I agree with the LGBT caucus, the Black caucus, and, it's really sad. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Georgia.
Hi there. Maria Kapicki, Amherst. I don't have to tell anybody here that if I have a problem with something, you'll know about it. So I wanted to come here tonight just to share with you my experiences that I've had with Dr. Z so far. And I have had the occasion to speak with her on a number of occasions. And I have found her to be so refreshingly open and available. She's frank. If she's going to disagree with me sometimes too, and you know what? She's going to let me know that. And I appreciate that because it's up front, right? What you see is what you get, and when she says something, she means it. So my experiences with Dr. Z have been nothing but positive. She inherited a big hot mess. She came here in the midst of not one, but two, three, I don't know, how many crises were we in? And I really hope that we give her the opportunity to make the changes that need to be made. Let's not mess this up. What I have heard about and seen in sundry news outlets is highly inappropriate. An anonymous complaint where some people at some outlet, spoke with some of the allegedly 12 people, and then, I mean, this is just not okay. And for it to have been reported, and for it to be also reported by the, you know, actual paper in the area is not okay either. So you've got an investigation happening. Okay, let's do that, and then let's get to work. And I think that has been happening, but there's a lot more to be done. And I hope that we as community members and adults and professionals can act like adults, and let's go directly to people when we have a problem with them, and fix things that need to be fixed, and just let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment? Okay, thank you all. All right. So now I move the Amherst Pelham Regional School Committee will now enter executive session pursuant to MAGLC 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and I do declare, APEA negotiations with Units A, B, and C in McGee litigation with the intent to return to open session.
I'll second.
Second. Bridget,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
William,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
and Sarah Beth, yes. All right, so we are in executive session, and we will be back.
Trev.
Trevor, I thought that was you when I saw you sitting out in the audience. What brings you out here, man?
Man, people have been bumping into me at the grocery stores for the last 2 weeks, and I promised somebody today I would show up at the school committee meeting, lay eyes on it, and see what's going on for myself. So I'm here.
I got you.
How are you?
I hope all is well with you, man.
Yes, things are coming along. Life comes at you quick, fast, and in a hurry.
All the time.
What do you do now? Man, I do several things. So right now, I got a bunch of, basically, I'm a loan officer for folks with hard money. So when people want to flip houses or buy commercial real estate, they put their money behind somebody, and they trust me to go vet some of the people that might want to use their money.
So,
That make sense?
yeah,
That's the simplest
back from everybody? Okay, excellent. So we are back in session. So yes. Okay, so chair's update first. I would like to say thank you to our athletic director, Victoria, for so amazingly and generously taking our minutes for tonight.
And she has lots of senior nights.
She's
this
got,
week, so-
the woman is busy.
Yeah.
So I can't even begin to say thank you enough. All right. So then I have a few other things for my chair's update. So I want to take a moment to reiterate the district's dedication to policy JII, student protection of undocumented students, and our commitment to protecting and educating all of our students regardless of their immigration status. At the state level, MASC, the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, continue to monitor the situation and provide regular updates. Here, Dr. Z has been working with council to make sure we have guidelines and procedures in place. And I will speak for myself, and I want to be very clear. No human is ever illegal. Okay, on to other things. Quick update for the APA negotiation subcommittee. The negotiation team for the APA 2025-2028 contract, which includes APE members, district administration, and school committee, recently had a very productive meeting. We begun by having every team member sign the ground rules. Following this, we identified and discussed various interests, of which many overlapped. These interests were categorized into 3 phases. Phase 1 is easy cleanup. Phase 2 is process or procedures. Phase 3 is economic issues. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 29th, during which we will finalize all interest for discussion. After this point, no new interest will be introduced, and we will continue to work towards alignment and consensus. And finally, William and I, as chairs of Union 26 and the regional school committees, would like to affirm the district's commitment to an environment free of unlawful harassment. There is an investigation underway, and we would like to thank everyone for their patience and commitment to confidentiality to protect the integrity of the investigation. All right, are there any school committee updates or subcommittee announcements? Sarah?
We may all have heard from MASC today about there's a learning lunch or something, a talk on Friday, a webinar about the immigration, about this whole issue, and I will be attending, and maybe I saw some nodding heads, so maybe not. At least know about it.
Yeah.
Irv?
Yes, I would like to make an announcement.
Oh, wait, hold on 1 second, Irv. We gotta find a way to turn you up.
Well, that's the first time anyone has said that to me.
So, one of our very great IS staff members has been working with Amherst Media. He should be loud and clear on everyone.
He's loud everywhere but here. Okay.
Can we turn this mic around, or no?
No, we can hear. Let's
Okay.
just be very
I
quiet.
just wanted to make sure we.
It's out.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Can we hold the mic
Thanks,
over
Irv.
here?
So anyway, my announcement is of a letter that I sent to Sarah Bess and William. And it read in part, I am writing this in hopes of convincing you to put out some sort of press release concerning the letter that has been published in all major local, regional, and state publications. Without such a statement, rumor, innuendo, misinformation, and disinformation rule today. All parties in this situation are hoping for a favorable outcome in their favor. In my opinion, there will be no winners. The big loser that will be and is now the loser is the Amherst and regional school system. Once again, we find ourselves facing an institutional crisis. This is a crisis that has and is causing many residents to question the very viability of the system itself and the governance structures of the system. So I am urging you to put out a press release that can allay the fears and concerns of the school community and the larger community. Mischief loves a vacuum. Done.
Thanks, Irv. Jennifer, did you have your hand up, or was no? Okay. Was there any other announcements, updates?
Yeah, I forgot.
Okay. Okay.
I was gonna give the details on Sarah's, the thing that
Go
Sarah
ahead, 'cause I
announced.
don't remember the
Sure.
project title.
Well, now I just lost it. Wait,
It's on the calendar.
Friday at 1, DESE is hosting a webinar on immigration and student rights, coordinating with the Office for Refugees and Immigrants, ORI, for school committee members focused on recent changes to immigration law and your students' rights. And so if you can attend, I'm sure they will have a recording of it at some point.
Thank you. All right.
I guess I did remember the other thing. Amherst Town Council has reorganized. One of the things relevant to this committee, besides committee assignments, is they decided not to assign an official person to speak on behalf of the Amherst Town Council at Four Towns meetings. So there's more to it than that. There was more discussion around that, but that's the well, half of the gist. Yeah.
Does that mean there will be no Amherst Town Council member at the meeting, or that there's no official head person and they all speak equally?
I think the idea was they were planning on deciding at the time who was to speak, but the general consensus was that they don't go to town council with any additional information than they don't go to Four Towns with any additional information than what we've already received.
Okay. All right. So next up is to approve minutes. So I spent my weekend going over all of the minutes we have not approved and writing most of them since April. So I am going to, I think we should go one by one. I did get your edits. I did not have a chance to incorporate them. So let's start at the top. April 29th. So I move we approve the minutes of April 29th, 2024.
Second.
Thank you.
Can we say as amended? I mean, if I sent, I'm trying to look back to my emails to you.
So,
Did you amend those?
Oh, well, that's what I'm looking
no.
for.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not April. Are there any other edits? Nothing? Jennifer?
Yeah.
Irv?
Yes.
Tillman? Oh, bye, Tillman. Okay.
He must be coming
Bridget.
in.
Oh!
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Sarah Beth? And yes, and Tillman?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Whatever it is.
I
Okay.
know the minutes. I listened to it until then. I want to create
That was
feedback.
all right. So I move we approve the minutes of May 17th.
Second.
Was that you, Deb?
Yes.
Any edits? Okay. Jennifer?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth, yes. All right. We have minutes. I move to approve the minutes of May 28th.
Second.
Excellent.
Sarah Beth? I did make 3.
Yes.
Small corrections.
Was that you? Did you?
Yes.
Okay. So Sarah has submitted to me I'm very sorry for the mistyping of
Quite all
people's
right.
names. To correct Sarah's name, sorry, and other Sarah's name, and add interim before a discussion of evaluation. Were there any other edits?
Are we on May 28th?
Yes.
Just the date at the top has an extra digit.
Oh, look at that.
I thought we were,
May.
point of order, I thought we were on the 17th.
No, we already.
We already
Oh.
approved those.
Oh, sorry.
We're on the 28th.
All right. So to approve the minutes as amended, Jennifer,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
William,
Yes.
and Sarah Bess. Yes. All right. I move to approve the minutes of June 25th, 2024.
Second.
So Sarah sent me edits in the Wellbeing is Who's topic to encourage this incoming superintendent, and the track project calling the question, and all voted to end discussion. Were there any further edits?
The word interim is just misspelled twice. It says interimum.
Inter what?
Interimum.
Oh.
Under where it says interim superintendent, at least two places it's just misspelled. The word interim is misspelled.
All right, any further edits? All right, Jennifer,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Sarah, William,
Yes.
and Sarah Beth. Yes, all right. I move to approve the minutes of July 23rd, 2024.
I second.
All right. And Sarah sent edits to remove the revenue subcommittee bullet if they had nothing to report, but I didn't take notes. I don't know if there was anything reported. Does anyone have any?
Memory.
Okay, so we will remove the bullet. All right, so to approve the July 23rd minutes as amended. Jennifer,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
William,
Yes.
and Sarah Bess, yes. All right, so I am submitting the retreat summary as the minutes for that meeting. So I move to approve the August 27, 2024 retreat minutes.
Second.
Were there any edits? William, start on this side.
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Deb,
Abstain.
Sarah,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Shh, sorry. And Sarah Beth, yes. So we are 8, 0, 1. All right. I move to approve the minutes of September 10th, 2024.
I'll second.
I have an edit.
All right, what do you got?
Shutesbury is missing an S.
Oh, so it is.
Just noticed that. Sorry.
I submitted one also. Spelling.
Yes, to also fix your spelling. Sorry.
It's a word, so spell check won't catch it.
Yeah, auto corrects it. Any further edits? William,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
and Jennifer.
Yes.
Excellent. Oh boy. Okay. I move to approve the minutes of September 25th, 2024.
Second.
Interesting.
Any edits? Okay. William.
Yes.
Oh, was that an edit, Irv?
Yeah, I did make some edits, and unfortunately, it disappeared on my phone, so it's not there. So I'm done.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I said that I had made some edits, and I transferred all of it because I wanted to be able to speak to it while we're in the meeting. So I transferred it all that to my phone, but my phone is not bringing it up, so I can't make the edits.
Okay, do you think it will come back up? Do you want us to pause and move to a different one?
No, because I'm mired in a loop here that's not taking me anywhere.
Okay.
Been there, yeah.
Okay. William,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
and Sarah Bess. Yes. Oh boy. Okay. I move to accept the minutes of October 22nd, 2024.
I second.
Oh, and I misspelled Jennifer's last name. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Any other edits besides too fast typing? Okay, William,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. I move to approve the minutes of November 4th, 2024.
I second.
Are there any edits? Bridget?
No, I don't have edits, sorry. I just had some hair.
Oh, no. How would you like to vote?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, sorry.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth, yes. Okay. I move to approve the minutes of 11/22/2024.
Was there
Oh.
no 11,
hold on.
12?
There is.
Yeah.
It's 12. I said the wrong. It's the 12th.
Okay.
So can you fix the date?
Yep. Wait, did someone second it?
I second it.
Okay.
It's November 12th. 2000. Okay.
Yep. Okay, and so we need to attach a statement and votes to enter executive session. And the drafts for the state of the school slides were a draft, and and Sarah asked for
Comments.
to be emailed.
Yeah, they were drafts. so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, somewhere you say something about a statement is attached, and there isn't any attachment, and I don't even remember what it was.
The joint statement. Okay.
Oh, right.
Okay. I will look for that. Any further edits? All right. Irv, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth, yes. So as amended. All right. Now, November 22nd, I move to approve the minutes as amended. Did you send me ones in those, Sarah's?
I don't think so.
Nope.
I second.
Were there any edits? Nope. All right. Irv, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth, yes. So many minutes.
2 left. 1. December 10th.
All right, I move to approve the minutes of December 10th, 2024.
I second.
There's, to add the record of vote to adjourn the Amherst and Pelham School Committee. Are there any other edits? All right, Bridget, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
All right. And last but not least, I move to approve the minutes of December 14th.
I second.
And as amended, so I think there's like a weird grammatical thing happened, right?
Yeah, and the Leverett, bullet
And the
about
Leverett.
Leverett.
Second bullet. This.
And there's more. So
Yeah. Okay.
Would like?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are there any further edits?
Oh, it's also loose. What the schools would loose.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Those people from Lower don't know how to spell.
I mean, I did live in Leverett for a hot minute, just
Yeah,
after
that was
college,
my
so.
Just mispronounced.
Are there any further edits?
I would say like no.
Oh.
Fine. William, how do you vote?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Sarah?
yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Good work.
Holy mackerel. Jennifer?
I just wanted to say thank you for pulling together all those documents
Yeah.
and also for taking us through the approving of them. So thank you so much.
No problem. All right. Next up is to appoint a district clerk. So attached are the two documents. One is the Mass General Law, and it's the last line of the first paragraph. Each regional school district shall designate an individual to serve as a district clerk. And our school committee officers and policies, there we have a secretary, but the last line says, not a member, then the secretary will be responsible to the superintendent of schools. This comes up when we need, the same way you file papers with your town clerk, we don't have a town, so we need a district clerk. So I would like to suggest appointing Megan, I'm gonna butcher your last name, Dushko. Sorry. As she reports to the superintendent of schools. And it is mostly about the record keeping. So we have access, and recently I had to sign some borrowing paperwork as chair of the school committee, and we needed the district clerk to verify, authorize my signature. So I.
Second, Jennifer. Oh, you already moved.
What?
I don't think I did, but.
Could I move to appoint Megan?
Sure.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion?
I would just mention Debbie Westmoreland held this position before.
Yes. All right. Irv, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth? Yes. It is unanimous, and thank you, Megan. Appreciate it. Okay. So, oh, we need a chair. We need a chair.
We need a chair. Pointy part?
There's.
Okay.
Where's she going? Oh, she's going over there.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Fellow chairwomen, would you perhaps maybe like to call your committees to order?
I would like to call the Pelham School Committee to order at 8:08 on Tuesday, January 28th.
And
Oh,
I will
Jennifer,
confirm.
I'm sorry. I forgot it was that you were.
No
I
problem.
apologize. Jennifer, would you like to call your committee to order?
Okay, I'll call the Amherst School Committee to order at 8:09. We will do a roll call attendance. Irv?
Oh, I didn't do
Here.
Jennifer is present. Sarah Marshall?
Present.
Bridget Hines?
Present.
And Deb Leonard.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, our first item is our superintendent's update.
So forgive me, I'm going to start off at the region and end quickly. This is going to be a quick superintendent's update once it comes up. As always, you know, we start with our 3 priorities, which I know like the back of my hand: student safety and well-being, healing and stabilization of the district, and data and equity for everyone. And so, if it clicks. Maybe not. Ready? Just tap to the next slide. Alrighty, winter sports are in full swing. As always, we talk about our boys alpine, girls alpine. Boys basketball have 3 wins to 9 losses, but that's okay. We're catching up. Girls basketball, we've played a lot of games. Ice hockey, we have 5 wins under our belts. Boys indoor track, 4 wins under our belt. Girls indoor track, 7 wins. So we have boys Nordic, girls Nordic. Boys swimming and diving have 2. Girls swimming and diving, they have 7. So there's a lot of great things happening in the world of athletics. Please make sure you attend the games. I'm trying my best to as well. And upcoming this Thursday at 5, we have alpine skiing all the way in Charlemont, Massachusetts at Berkshire East. Friday, we have a varsity boys basketball at 6:30 p.m.
And Saturday, there is the Fast Chance Swim Meet. I cannot pronounce this. Minnechaug High School. I have been butchering names all day, so I will not do that.
Swim and dive has been switched to Thursday in Northampton, not on Wednesday.
Thank you, swim and dive parent. So
It is tomorrow.
It is tomorrow in Thursday in
Northampton,
Northampton.
not on
So it has been switched. So definitely make sure you go out and support. Inside the regional classrooms, students in Mr. Fable's engineering had a wonderful presentation around engineering for social good. Ideas were meant for the committee, including placement of new seating areas at the high school for students and staff and caregivers. In the last meeting, I promised an update on how our schools honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. Members of my team went out not just in the region, but throughout all of the district. Each of the schools, elementary as well as the middle school and high school, had different presentations, different ways to engage the student populations, and it was great. I had the ability to attend the middle school assembly, and it showcased students from the high school jazz ensemble, their reflections and poems. One of our school committee members' daughters, they had a wonderful poem, which was our background to one of our videos on the Facebook page, and it got lots of hits. So it's really been wonderful. Yesterday was the first day of semester school 2 in the region. And so students at the high school switched courses. Middle school, they engaged in semester 2, and it's been a wonderful experience. We're halfway through the school year, y'all, so we're about to make it to the end. 10 high school students were accepted to the All-State Music Festival, so it's really, really great. We have a lot of great things happening. They will be practicing Friday, March 28th in Worcester. See that? And then before the performance at Symphony... I got it. At Symphony Hall in Boston on March 30th. So definitely great things. Last week, my team and I got to visit the middle school student council, and I promised to go back. They're working on their priorities, working with the school. They want to submit some policy suggestions to the school committee around a policy, and I don't think it's a policy, I think it's more procedural, so we're going to work on it, that forbids food being handed out in class. They have some concerns around snacking and different things in the schools. They want to change the packaging of breakfast items. They're looking at aspects of their schedule that they have concerns about. And then they want us to take considerations into sports and athletics and the time that school is dismissed, and the amount of time that middle schoolers have to get to the high school to take part in sports versus the time that they don't have. And so it was really a rich discussion. I have to say that every time I engage with students in the districts, it's often not just eye-opening, but it's a testament to the work that our educators have. Our students are very eloquent in their speaking, clear on their thoughts, critical thinkers, and they are respectful, but they are too direct, so it's often very fun for me to engage with the students in conversations. And so I did promise the student council that we would be back to talk about more of their concerns, and they've emailed me their list of concerns so that when I come back, I have answers to their questions. The middle school principal search, all 3 candidates have visited the schools. They met with the middle school staff. They met with myself and the HR director. We did walkthroughs of the campus. I did a walkthrough with each candidate, and was able to just get their perspective on instruction, on building school culture, on shifting school culture, and their understanding of the middle school. So I'm looking forward to announcing a middle school principal within a week or 2. And so my hope is longevity. I am willing to support any individual in this as long as they're willing to commit to longevity. The middle school and the middle school students deserve a leader that will be with them over time, not just for a year. And so that is the commitment that I would like to have to the middle school, a individual who is strong but also resilient and willing to work over time, because out of these districts, even the overarching district, the middle school has had the highest turnover in leadership and deserves the opportunity to be led consistently. And our quote for this week is the child is both a hope and a promise for mankind. To consider the life of the child is to renew our commitment to the progress of humanity by Maria Montessori. And with that, I say that the next item up is the portrait of a graduate presentation. This is our first step into our strategic work. Various stakeholders throughout not just the community, but even I think we reached out to individuals from each town, because at the end, everyone feeds into the region, but we should all have a commitment to what that educational system or systems that we create are going to produce. And so the product is our graduate. If we were to think of education as a business, our product are our graduates that we release into the community, and we share and we say, hey, go forth and change the world, bring forth social change, impact justice, do what needs to be done. And so Dr. Leyland through ADI, is going to do a presentation for the 3 committees this evening around what this work is going to look like. She's going to start with the portrait of a graduate work tomorrow, and then transition us to our district strategic plan as our stepping stone to rebuilding our educational systems, and more so as our opportunity to rebuild trust in the community. So thank you.
Excellent. Any quick questions for Dr. Z?
I have unrelated questions. Shall we delay them until after the portrait of the graduate?
Sure. Oh.
Since it was already set up.
It is. See that? Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'll wait till the presentation comes up. Can you pull the mic closer too? Thank you. You mean I can't use my inside voice, my outside voice? Good evening. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I had the opportunity to visit each one of your schools today, and it was so exciting to see your students and your teachers engaged in teaching and learning, and it was really exciting to see that. I'm Dr. Allison Leyland, and I'm the Chief Education Strategist with ADI, which is the Academic Development Institute. And just to let you know a little bit about us, we are a nonprofit organization. We started in 1984, and our primary goal is to assist families, schools, and communities with children's academic and personal development. So we really take that holistic approach. I have been a national consultant now for about 30 years. I laugh and I say I'm older than dirt. I've had teaching and leading experience in first special education. And so I've taught special ed, elementary, middle, and high school, as well as general education in elementary and middle school. I have been at the district level in both IEP specialist as well as curriculum and development, curriculum instruction development, as well as providing lots of technical assistance over the last 12 years nationally on strategic planning, budgeting, performance management, because without performance management, your plan is not going to be implemented, district and school improvement, as well as instructional transformation, and working with rural education, including tribal schools through the Bureau of Indian Education, as well as the schools in the Pacific region where we have compact agreements as the United States. And I'm just so delighted to be here because I was born in Hartford, I grew up in New York, and so being on the East Coast, I love it. I love being back here. So just to tell you a little bit about our approach, we really know that change is inevitable, and you know that. You're dealing with that every day. And so we have to be very intentional about what to change and also anticipating its consequences. We also have to make sure that when we're introducing change, it really calls for leadership skills and demands of analysis of both information, not just within the district, but also outside the district, because you have so many things influencing. And when you look at work trends of the future, you're building the future workforce. We also know that change often means introduction of new practices. So we look at the idea that we've got to work together to change adult practices, because if we don't change those, then we're not going to get the student results that we need. And so that's kind of a little bit of our approach. Again, strategic planning, usually when I say that, people roll their eyes. And I don't know whether you've experienced this, but you've had a strategic plan and it tends to sit on a shelf. And we don't report on it until we have to. And so what we want to do, and I love this cartoon because it talks exactly about that, is that we want to make sure that we tie the strategic planning in with performance management so there's accountability, there's transparency, and that you're actually getting the work done and you're also getting the results that you need. We've done this now for more than 11 entities, states, districts. Strategic and planning and education. I spent 5 years in business, in telecommunications, a big cable company, and learned a lot about the business side of strategic planning as well as the education side. And so what we know is that we all make plans. Oops. We all make plans. However, it's not showing my... The reality is that the plans are often not carried out. And the why is, even though this isn't coming up with it, oops, I goofed. The why is that we lack commitment, we lack accountability, and we lack the ability to really tackle those tough questions. We know we have discussions about the tough topics, but in terms of making the decisions and prioritizing, we tend not to do that. And we tend to try to do so much for everybody that we're not really focused on anything. And so that's one of the things that we have learned in working with strategic planning. What we know is in order for an organization or a system to be healthy, it needs to, in order for you to have high performance, you have to be a healthy organization. And we spent a lot of work on combing through the research in terms of what makes a healthy organization. And I like this quote from Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning, and you all are coming together under the direction of the new superintendent. Keeping together is progress, but working together is success. And that's really the level that you need to be at in order to have a successful strategic plan where you're not only implementing it, but you're also getting the results. We work on making sure that you look at your vision, and what we call it, we tend to look at it as a direction. Because sometimes what we do is we create these 5-year strategic plans that are all mapped out, and the context changes all of a sudden, but we don't have the flexibility to be able to go back and make adjustments in the plan. So we talk about really clearly having that vision and that strong direction, and then taking that plan and looking at your structure and your processes, because your structure needs to support the plan. You don't write the plan based on your organizational structure. And so that's why I'm really excited about doing this at this time with you all. We also have to make sure that it's owned by everybody. So at some point during the process, we're going to have teachers here, we're going to have some paras here, we're going to have all kinds of people involved in it. Because the people who are going to do the work, if they're not involved in it and they don't own it, then they don't see the importance of it. We also know that a really high-functioning organization also understands where its people fits within the whole landscape. And we've got a rapidly changing landscape right now. So we've got to make sure that we've got that plan and that structure, but we allow that flexibility by the use of data in making the adjustments that we need to keep on track and to change if we need to, based on what the students need, not the adults. So the idea behind a portrait of a graduate is to identify the skills and personal competencies or learning habits that your graduates need to have, not just in the current situation, but the future situation. So as we work over the next couple of days, we're going to be taking a look at workforce trends between now and 2030, because you've got to build that future. And if you notice, it's not just the skills, the academic skills, but it's also what we call the personal competencies, what some people call the soft skills, the other skills. And we've got some really good information from industry saying that these are the things that we know that we need in our workers. Once we have the portrait of the graduate, and I want to say that it's important as we work over the next couple of days to really make sure that every single student is seen in the portrait. Every student. And that each student is able to take a look at that portrait and say, this is where I am now and this is where I want to be. So we're paying attention to the individual needs of the students also. And so that's why I really like starting with that vision. Because again, you're going to hear me say this all the time. It's about the kids. It's not about the adults. And so once we have the portrait of the graduate, we then say, okay then, what do our students at the middle school need to have when they leave middle school to transition into the high school? Which allows you then to have your middle school students create their own goals and map how they're going to get those skills so that they're owning and engaged in the learning. And then after we do that, oops, I missed one. After we do that, I don't know why my animation isn't working, we then say, if this is what the middle school needs, now this is what we have to make sure our elementary students have by the time they leave. And what you're doing is you're building a system where students are able to start to see themselves and where they are and where they need to be as they go through this learning path. And it really is a learning path. Oh, there it is. So a researcher, Dr. Sam Redding, and we created a performance management process for strategic planning and education. We found that was missing. And so through all of our years of experience and going through the research and everything, what we found is I did a lot of strategic planning. He was working on more of the performance management piece of it. And we both said that they have to come together. You can't do one without the other. And so that's this approach where we actually help an organization look at a systems focus and then not only be able to set your direction, but allow the work to be developed and detailed enough with accountable transparency so you can make adjustments using the data to get your better results. And when we talk about results, we're not just talking about student results, because oftentimes we say, oh, we have this goal and the kids are going to learn. And we don't look at anything in the middle. And the middle is the most important part. Because again, what we have to say is, are we doing what we said we were going to do? Are we having the impact on the adult change of practice before we can say we're going to see the change in the student practice? And is working together collaboratively to elevate the practices of all, not just me in my classroom, but all. We also have specific performance measures at multiple levels of the organization, so that again, you're looking at that, did we do what we said we were going to do? And what's the impact? And the impact on the students. And we also work with helping you create a mechanism for gauging that progress, using progress data, doing some coaching so that you're using that progress data and making the decisions that you need to make before you get down the path and say, oh, we never did this. It's a process that uses strategic thinking, analysis, and synthesis. And what's really important is that we emphasize what not to do as well as what to do. Because one of the things that we've learned over the last, 11 years doing this, is that we're doing too much. And so therefore, we're not doing anything really deep. And so we have to start looking at what not to do as well as what to do. I don't know about you, but after being an educator for this many years, we pile everything on and we never take anything off. But you have to take off based on data. We use a process that's very simple, but it also builds a culture of continuous growth and shared ownership. And that's why we involve not just a retreat to do the strategic planning, but it's a process that we add folks as we go along so that there is joint ownership. That's why we call it a journey. So we'll set the direction after we do the portrait of the graduate, and then we'll operationalize that direction, and that's when we're going to say, okay, if this is our plan, what do our structures and our processes need to be? And then design the actionable work, which really gets down to the detail, making sure that people are going to do the work, they're going to plan that work, so you're not just handing them a plan. And then implementing a performance and innovation cycle, which is that cycle of using your data to see where you are and making adjustments that are timely, not waiting till the end of a year and saying, we never got to this and why. So there's definite steps. Some of these terms you may recognize, but we create or revisit your foundation. We do a SWOT analysis that really looks at the assets first. So it's an asset-based approach, as opposed to saying a deficit, because you are doing some good things, and we need to recognize those. We also look at opportunities within your systems, as well as opportunities outside. And then we do look at threats. What are those things that are out of your control that you know will have an influence? Because you've got to prepare for those as best as you can. We involve lots of stakeholders, and we develop goals that are student-focused. You're not going to see necessarily the operational goals, because this is student-focused. It's all about the kids. The strategies and the actions you take may be some of those operational pieces that you need to do, but those are in place to support the students, which is why the goals need to be student-focused. We develop a theory of action. Some people call it a theory of change, because that really helps you identify, so if we do this, what's our direct impact? And our direct impact is on the adults. Our indirect impact will be on the students. The teachers have that direct impact on the students, but you all as a group and the administrators, we're indirectly impacting the adults and then going to the students. We look at doing what we call a functional analysis. What are the major functions that you need to have in order to implement your plan? What is your structure then? And we look at gaps. And a good example is we did this with one state department, and what they realized is in every single piece of work that they were defining, there was a research piece, and they had no research capability. And so what they did temporarily was to hook up with a university to get that research piece, but then within 2 years they had a research person on board. That's how you identify those gaps, but you do it according to your plan and according to what you want to do. And we also look at strategizing your personnel and your resources, looking at the allocation. Are you very strategic in the allocation of resources, which includes personnel? And we build the idea of collaboration and communication so that no one person is doing a piece of the plan, but you're working on collaborative teams. And what's exciting is it'll be collaborative teams across your schools. We then get into the nitty-gritty of implementing those strategies and putting timelines and identifying outputs. And those become some of your measures, so that you don't just have student performance measures, you have the adult performance measures. Are we doing what we said we were going to do? And what's the impact? We also look at current work and projects and what aligns now to your goals, because those you want to continue, but you also want to assess them and say, yeah, we have this project, but maybe it's not as impactful. So we start to look at how you're assessing your projects and your programs and things and putting it all together. We really stress the idea of using lenses. Looking at best practices. Is what we are planning to do or doing encouraged by evidence, by sound educational practice? Communications. Are we actually conveying messages and opportunities that cause two-way communication and continuous information flow between all parties? An equity lens. are we doing things and using our resources the most effective way to address inequities? And there are inequities. Do we have reasonable evidence that when we deviate from a practice, it's getting greater results? And that's that innovation lens. Sometimes we tend to do the practice and just continue it and not even think about, gee, if we deviate a little bit, we're going to do some innovation and we may get better results. And productivity. Again, are we moving the dial? When we use our resources, are we moving the dial on our performance in pursuit of the goals? So it's looking at it both ways, not just the students, but the adults. We work with performance management, specific measures. Now, why isn't that showing? Sorry about that. It's not showing, I'm so sorry. But we look at performance management where we identify your goals will have measures, your strategies, as well as your outputs to your actions. So we build this system of performance measurement. And having continuous dialogue between everybody and making sure that our stakeholders are all involved and continuously being kept up to speed. So here is our timeline. I'll go over the timeline and then I want to ask a lot of questions because you may go, oh my gosh. So today and tomorrow and Thursday we're going to work on the portrait. That's kind of like our aim. And then identifying that transition skills from each of the transition pieces. And then phase 2 will be setting our direction, revisiting your vision, your mission, your values, identifying those student-focused goals, and your theory of change or theory of action. And then we start to work on your functional analysis as well as your structural analysis. So we start to build the plan and then start to look at the organizations. After we do that, then we're starting to identify our collaborative teams to carry out the strategies and design actionable work. And that's the second phase of phase 2, and that's going to be in July and September. And then in September, we start to tackle the budgeting because your budget should support your plan. And we're making a shift because typically what we do is we get money and we plan to spend it. So we're going to make a shift and we're going to say, this is our plan. So how do we leverage our budgets to implement our plan? And that's probably one of the hardest things. But when you're doing it, it's really successful. And we've got some great organizations that have gone through a couple of commissioners and they're still having their plans and they're still carrying it out because the plan is not your leader's plan. The plan is your student's plan. And that's the exciting part of it. That's the part I love. And I do want to be honest, it's going to take some tough discussions as well as tough decisions, but we're going to do it in a safe way where all voices are heard, but not necessarily all voices have to be agreed upon. We need that space to do some of that discussion and that healing in order to make some of these changes. And this is really a foundation of both what Dr. Redding and I believe. Only when we change educator practice will we see substantial increase in student learning. And only when we apply performance management methods will we achieve consistent elevation of professional practice. And that's really at the heart of what we do. And we've got a number of publications, and they have the PowerPoint that they can certainly send out if you have any questions about where we've done it and how we've done it. I'm in the process of revising the process in our first publication to include some of the pieces that we've learned, our lessons learned, because we truly believe that we need to continue to evolve based on the lessons that we've learned. In working with larger state departments as well as some really small rural places. So I want to open it up to questions. Comments, thoughts?
Jennifer.
Hi, thanks Dr. Leyland for that presentation. Could you repeat, you said something earlier about researching the workforce for the next X number of years? I didn't quite catch it. Can you explain again the context and what it was you said about that?
Yes, there's several organizations that have actually published some recent reports on workforce trends over the next 5 to 10 years. And so it's really interesting data, taking a look at where we feel that you're going to have less in terms of need because of automation, as well as where we're going to have more need. And so making sure that you understand those trends will really help you think about the skills that your students will need and those personal competencies. And it's been done by McKinsey and Company, Hanover Research, several of them. So
And this is within the context of building the portrait of a graduate?
Yes, exactly. It's in the context of that, because your portrait of the graduate is those skills and competencies that you want your students to have when they leave so they're successful in all of those different places, not only being a productive member of their communities, but the global communities, as well as carrying out their social and their community roles and responsibilities for justice, as well as contributing to the workforce. And the workforce is changing.
Great, thank you. I don't know if this is a comment for you or for whichever committee members are going to be involved in the portrait of a graduate. It's always been my belief that the purpose of an education is not necessarily only to prepare students to participate in an economy or in the workforce, but it's to prepare students to participate in a democracy through critical thinking. So, and you touched on that, Dr. Leland, just now when you talked about contributing to the community and justice and all that. Like, I want to make sure that we are not, and it doesn't sound like we are, I just had to put my 2 cents in. We want to make sure that we're not only talking about what jobs are people going to get when they graduate from high school or college, but also can they think critically? Can they participate in a democracy? Thank you.
Exactly. And that's where those personal competencies come in terms of that. And I've got 5 examples that I'm bringing to the table tomorrow where you're going to see a little bit difference, but you'll see where some of those come in. You'll also see one that really has embedded the culture into their strategic, into their portrait of a graduate, because their culture is so important to them. So you're going to build that. So if that's a value and that's something that you want to see, then we need to make sure that that's included in there.
Tillman.
Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation. How do you reflect resource constraints in that process? If I think of the ideal graduate, they speak 3 languages, program in multiple different programming languages, are star athletes, musicians, artists, everything. Clearly, that is limited both by how much time we have with the students and how much resources we have. How is that reflected? Because at some point this comes down then to a decision of we're going to spend our limited resources, time or money on one or the other thing.
That's where you have to look at prioritization, and you have to decide trade-off decisions. And that's part of that process, is saying that these are all the important things, but we've got to prioritize. And then making those prioritization decisions, saying that, okay, so if we prioritize this, what's the trade-off that we're doing?
And is that done at the very first step in the plan that lasts many
Yes, that's
commissioners
part-
that you said, or
that-
is that something that's done annually, depending on, you know?
So what's interesting is that what we found is, if you're trying to do a 5-year plan, you're guessing the 4th and the 5th year. You really are, if you're getting down to the planning. And so what we recommend is having 3 years. At the end of the first year, you then look at your data, look at your context, and if you need to make adjustments, make adjustments. And then you've got the second year and you build out the 3rd year. So it's a continuous building of the 3 years, continuing to 3 years, continuing 3 years. And allows you the flexibility to make the adjustments that you need to make without feeling like, oh my gosh, we have this 5-year approved plan and we can't move, we can't change, or anything like that. And it really takes a lot of tracking of progress, not just with your students, but with the adults doing the work. And that's probably the scariest part, because we know how to measure student progress really well, and we know how to keep students accountable for that. We're not good with us. And that's part of the process.
Margaret?
So I'm looking at the timeline, and you talking about different groups being involved and collaboration, and I'm wondering for example, where would teachers come into this process of owning and developing? Because this is I'm looking, for example, at July to September, which seems like the kinds of things that maybe you would bring teachers into, but that's summer.
We'd actually bring them in earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to bring the timeline up, but we need to make sure that we have teacher reps right from the time that we start to build those strategies, and then
Okay.
moving down into the development of the annual milestones and the actions.
Okay, so they're gonna come in really early. Okay, thank you.
It's, my largest group has been about 120.
Okay.
Doing the annual milestones and action planning and everything. But it worked really well.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing I should say is that we know the steps to do, and we've got really good success with those, but we actually custom design it according to how things are going here, which is one of the reasons why I'm here visiting your schools first, working on your portrait of graduate. Because I'm not here to say, you have to do it this way. I'm here saying, we know these steps need to happen, and when they don't happen, we're not seeing success. But the entry point and how we bring in may depend on the context and how we're working. One size doesn't fit everybody.
Are there any further questions, comments? Okay. Did you have one? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Leland, for coming and presenting to us. This is going to be great.
Thank you.
A lot of work, but it sounds like it's going to be fantastic.
Thank you, and keep the questions coming, because that's how we discuss and
you have one, Deb?
dialogue. Open to questions.
Deb?
Yeah, I just have a little comment. It just reminds me of what Dr. Z said in her interview, which is, her goal, so this seems to me an implementation of her work, which is her goal is to make sure that students entering these buildings have a sense of who they are, where they want to be, and therefore ownership in the process. So I just appreciate that connection.
Thank you. And it's all children, our neurodiverse children, our
Yeah.
LGBT, all of our children. We have to make sure there's a place for everybody.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Next up. Oh, Tillman, yes. I'm sorry.
Tillman wanted to drill me.
No, just two questions that somebody asked me and I couldn't answer them.
Okay.
Are we still doing the middle school merger with the high school in fall 25?
No.
And I have a follow-up question because.
Well, let me say that, let me rerun the numbers based on some information we received or are about to receive. But I know when we initially projected it in September, it was early and it was around the higher budget and a larger number of positions being cut. We've since reduced that. We also have the roof project in progress. Once we make it to the next stage of the roof project and we have a timeline, that would also give us a clearer understanding of what we need to do.
Right, the roof project is capital expenditure. I think one of the reasons we talked about merging the schools was for OpEx for the budget, and so
Right.
if I hear you correctly, you're feeling confident that we can squeeze.
One more year out of
Okay.
separate buildings, yeah.
Thank you. And then the other question I have is, are we doing school choice at middle and high school?
I believe that's supposed to be coming up in February
Do we
for
currently do it?
We didn't, currently, when I walked in this year, there were no school choice spots in the middle or high school for this year. I think I'm supposed to make a recommendation to the school committee in February for school choice. I believe that's on the annual agenda that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So previously, in my experience, the school committees have voted to have school choice, but it is then up to the administration whether or not there are spaces, like actual seats.
Or how many?
Or how many
Yeah.
seats, right? So like we just say yes or no, and then they say, well, we actually have 0, or we have 15, or whatever it is.
Okay, understood. So for the fall 25, it will be decided in February, is that the?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Deb?
Just for clarity, since Tillman brought it up, the original consolidation plan, did that involve, I don't want to say level services, but did that involve the idea that services would not be reduced to students? There seems to be,
That services would not be reduced to
Yeah.
student? Of
I
course,
mean-
services would be reduced, because we're cutting a large number of positions, and we wouldn't be able to function within 2 separate buildings.
Thank you.
So I just have a question. I was hoping we would see an update on the bullying BRIM system
Sure.
to your superintendent's update, and I did not see that, so I was a little disappointed that we didn't see that this meeting.
Understood. It will be going out, I believe, Friday publicly, and then I will have it for everyone the following week. I know that the data has been updated up until January of last week. We just weren't able to finalize the verbiage that's going with it in terms of the gaps and other areas that we would like to identify. So I do apologize, but it will be going out publicly.
Okay. Policy, what you got for us?
Can you pull up the first one, ACE? So this is for a second read. We have ACE. It's dated 12/2/24. We did not have any suggested edits on this, so this is as the same that we read the last time. So if we don't have any further comments, I
I
would
move
move.
to approve the policy ACE
For the region.
for the region.
Or,
Second.
Any further discussion? Irv? How do you vote?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Sarah?
Hold on, I'm just going back because I usually do have comments, but yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth, yes. It passes unanimously for the region. I will move
Yes.
for the Pelham School Committee.
Second. All those, Sarah Bass?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Margaret, yes.
I move the same for the Amherst School Committee.
Second.
Moved by Jennifer, seconded by Sarah. Any last discussion from the Amherst School Committee? Bridget, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
And Jennifer's yes. Thank you.
And then can we look at the last AC one? It's dated today's date, 1/28/25. And this one, we did have some changes because it didn't really label all 3 districts. So there are some verbiage, or some word changed in there to include all 3 districts.
Is there any way you can indicate what has changed?
Oh, well, it says, right here, we added Amherst, Pelham, and then the districts. So then we added that throughout.
Just,
Because it was only
Yeah.
talking about the region
Right.
the last time, and it is for all 3 districts, so we added the words to include all 3 districts.
Okay.
That was all that was changed.
right?
That was all that was changed since the last meeting, since the first read.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Tillman?
In the third paragraph, third line, middle of this line, it still says Amherst Pelham, is that intended or is that supposed to be districts? I'm too short. Thanks.
It's like right in the center.
Yeah, I see it. I did not change that, no.
So just to update to the
So
public
I make a friendly amendment, yeah.
districts.
Replace Amherst Pelhams with the districts.
The districts,
plural.
okay. Will do. Thank you.
Sarah?
Maybe I forgot what was stated last time, but I inquired about the word parents in the opening line because we'd, in some other policy, talked about how the language is moving to caregivers. So are we going to, what are we going to do about that?
These words were given to us by council, so we were sticking to those words. And
Do you
this
know
all may
why?
have to be changed again because of,
Because,
right. Right, so.
can I just, maybe on a list of things to
Right.
ask him about? Like, does he know that the state wants to move towards this caregiver language? And is there any reason he would not suggest we use it here? That's all. Okay.
Dr. Z?
In meeting with legal counsel today around the executive orders, there is changes and updates to the Title IX policy. And in terms of how we are going to revert in our Title VI, which is our civil rights procedures. So there is some updates that council will be making to our policies. If you would like, we can share this as well to ask if there's any updates so you can make it one time.
Okay, so are we holding on this policy or approve and then if it has to be updated again? Okay.
That's what I would do.
I move for the region to approve the, what is it, AC as amended.
Second.
All right. William,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Tillman,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
sorry, Margaret, Sarah,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Irv,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
All right, passes unanimously for the region. Go ahead, Margaret.
So I move that Pelham adopt policy AC.
Second.
As amended.
As amended.
Sorry, as amended. Yes. Any discussion? No. Okay, Sarah Bess?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Margaret, yes.
And I move the same for the Amherst School Committee.
I'll second.
Thank you, Sarah. Deb? How do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
And Jennifer's yes. Thank you.
Can you pull up ACA? So with legal counsel has asked us to retire this policy after we just adopted the policies. So I would entertain, I guess, a motion to retire this policy.
I move the regional school committee retire policy ACA.
Second.
William?
I have a question. No, sorry.
oh.
Just language. Is that, what did you say? What was the verb? It's not like
Oh,
rescind it.
retiring.
Retire? Is that the way we do it?
That's what I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, retire it. Okay.
Because it
Have-
still
just haven't done
stays
that
part of
before.
our documents.
Really? It'll still be in there?
I
But-
think it still stays in there for historical perspective or
But
whatever.
it'll say like,
Yeah.
Under status, the status will change from active. The
Correct,
status on
yeah.
top changes.
thank you. Okay.
All right, so for the region, William, how do you vote?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Excellent. It is unanimous for the region. I make the same motion for the Pelham School Committee.
Second. Any discussion? No. All right. Sarah Bess?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Margaret, yes.
And I move the same for Amherst. Any second?
Second.
I'll give the second to Irv. Any discussion? Probably not. Irv, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jennifer's a yes. Bridget?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And Deb?
Yep, yes.
Thank you.
And then the policy team, can you pull up NIBE ACC? They also recommended that Pelham retires policy ACC. It only pertains to Pelham, so only Pelham needs to
All right,
take this
I
up.
move that for Pelham that we retire, oops, I'm sorry, I just.
ACC.
That we retire policy ACC.
Second.
All right. Sarah Bess?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Margaret, yes.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Look at us flying through things. Excellent. Fellow Madam Chair people.
I move to adjourn the Pelham School Committee meeting.
A second.
All those in favor? We are adjourned.
And I move to adjourn the Amherst School Committee. Second.
Second.
Who was that, Sarah?
Aye.
Yes, it was
Sorry.
Sarah.
Oh,
Sarah
sorry.
second. Okay, and then Sarah, how do you
I'm
vote?
on autopilot. Yes, it was.
Been a lot of yeses tonight.
Yeah.
Great, Sarah, how do you vote?
And I will vote in favor of it.
Deb?
Yes.
Bridget?
She stepped out.
Yeah.
Well, okay, she abstains. Irv?
Yes.
And Jennifer's a yes, so Amherst is adjourned.
Point of order,
Yes.
2.5 hours.
I will move that we extend the Regional School Committee for 30 minutes at 9:03 p.m.
I second.
All right. Irv, how do you vote?
No.
Jennifer, how do you vote?
No.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Deb?
No.
Tillman?
No.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Bridget is coming just in time.
And Sarah Beth, I vote yes.
Oh, you're going to be sorry.
All right. Bridget, we got 30 minutes. Let's wrap it up quick. All right. So our first up is a draft letter from the Financial Sustainability Subcommittee, drafted to go to the Amherst Town Council. Can you, Jennifer, you are the chair of that subcommittee, correct?
Yes, and I'm prepared to take the committee through the letter. If is it Nivy or whoever, can you click on not the PDF, but the hyperlink that goes to the Google Doc? That would be great. I can't see the screen, it just looks white to me, so I'm following along on my iPad. So, and I can type in the iPad, and hopefully you'll see what I'm typing on the screen as suggested changes, so I can capture any suggested changes.
Oh, great. Thank you, Jennifer.
Sure. So, are we looking at the Google Doc?
Yes.
Okay, so the Fiscal Sustainability Subcommittee, which is made up of myself, Bridget, and Deb, met and came up with this proposed response to the Amherst Town Council's financial indicators letter that they sent to the committee on December 20th. So, so we start, so I'll just take us through it. I'm going to try not to read the whole thing, and you guys can look at it as I'm going through it, but we start out with thanking them for their stated commitment. It's not official yet, but they've in the letter is a recommendation to commit to prioritizing increasing the the fiscal 20, increasing the base from last year to include the full amount. And so we're starting out with just thanking them for that. What they've asked in the letter is for the school district to project out to fiscal 29 what our budgets will look like, and they've asked us to assume an increase of only 3 to 4% each year. And we felt that that was an unreasonable request for several reasons. And then we listed some of our concerns about that request. So first, limiting the budget in advance to only 3 to 4%, regardless of the actual state of things, when we've seen neighboring towns see an increase of 6 to 8% or have a need for an increase of 6 to 8% seems unreasonable. Irv, I'm going to ask you to mute, please, because there's getting a little background noise and it's distracting for me.
There's no one here but me. There's nothing else. I don't know where the noise is coming from.
Well, still, if you could mute, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Number 2 is promoting a district decision-making process that allows Amherst to take precedence over the other towns in deciding the 4 towns' budget. This goes against the regional agreement that a 2/3 vote that could financially devastate the schools if that were to be practiced by each town.
Your computer is. Oh.
Here, I can project.
If you could let me know when you're back up, that would be great.
Yep. I just need a little more cord. All right. Give me one more second, Jennifer.
Sure.
All right. Is that, there we go.
Okay, so I think I was on number 3, restricting future capital budget so dramatically to avoid taking on new initiatives. It's another request in their letter. Number 4, creating an unequal and inequitable playing field for the regional schools by not truly giving each budget area of the town an equal percent, which is inequitable by not recognizing the disproportionate responsibilities that the schools hold for closing equity gaps. We believe that planning an annual 5% surplus is too high. We understand that a municipality needs to plan for a surplus because planning to exactly 0 is risky and not advisable, but we believe that 5% is too high and results in operating budgets that require cuts. And then the 6, this is one of the things we want to talk about tonight. We're not actually sure about keeping in number 6, but they stated that the town's practice is to provide an equal percentage in operating budgets for the 4 major budget functional areas. Exceptions have been rare, small, and only for 1 year. We looked at the budget. We looked at past year's budgets and came up with this table, but we're actually not sure. We want to, for various reasons, we're not sure we want to stick with this. I'm going to invite Deb to chime in at this point if you want to say what you've found.
So the years 2018, 2019, and 2022, the smaller number that the Amherst school districts get I haven't been able to entirely wrap my mind around the numbers, but we're told that the reason is because the town, so the assessment for the charter schools that comes out of the town budget for the elementary school, then there is a reimbursement for some fraction of that. And somehow that gets folded in to get those numbers, the 1.7%, the 3.1%, and the 2.0% up to the same levels as the other town sectors. That's the best I can do on that right now.
Could I just, Jennifer, could I just chime in really quickly? I think this letter is not coming from Amherst School District, it's coming from the region. And so one thing that's important to note is that the region also is not receiving that, that same number year over year. That they say that we do receive, and they don't pay our sending costs, so.
Can I ask a question about the table? So I see in FY '21, it says a negative number?
Mm-hmm. Pandemic? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we had.
Less than, okay.
It's pandemic, yeah.
It's like negative .2%.
2.
It is a negative number. That is correct.
Yeah, okay. Sarah?
Well, I just, you're walking us through, but, so do you want us to hold questions until you're done?
Jennifer, do you have a preference?
I don't have a preference.
Go ahead, Sarah.
All right, gosh, then, okay, then can we go back to number 3? So this is referring to, or the document you're responding to is the financial guidelines that town council sends to the town manager, right? Is to what,
Yes.
for the town manager of Amherst to build the Amherst budget. All right, so item 3, concern about restricting the future capital budget, et cetera, that's talking about the town of Amherst's capital budget, right? And that we don't want the town of, council is saying it doesn't want the town manager to take on future capital initiatives or without identifying revenue. I don't know, how does that relate to us? I don't know what the point of that is. So that's a question.
Deb, did you have a?
So the entire budget document, the entire budget guidelines are written to the town manager from town's council. So with that point of view, all of these statements are really directed at the town manager. But in fact, since the regional school budget borrowing goes to the town manager, since the town pays a portion of our budget, our capital budget, that general statement can be applied to any of the initiatives that we would request of the 4 towns.
Are you sure about that? Or
did you read it? That's what it says.
Because I think that there's a different process.
Okay.
I would just say during the meeting of during the FinCom meetings, that as that committee worked to develop this, they were including the region in saying that they expected that all the areas, including us, would be within a $3 million annual capital budget, so.
Irv?
Yeah, I first of all, I really appreciate this. This is really good. And there are some comments that I have, but I'll send you those to you, Jennifer, later, rather than take up time tonight.
Okay.
Okay, this is a document that we hope to get the committee's buy-in on.
Are you saying you're going to vote on it tonight?
We could, and if you want to get your input in, it might be good to get it in front of the whole committee.
And then I'm not, no, because, if we're going to vote on it tonight, then yes, but if we're not going to vote on it tonight, because I can't be as clear as I can in writing my comments to you on it, because there are questions that I have that I want to ask. For instance, when you say 5%, if you're going to say a number, if you're going to say 5% or 3% or something, what is it that we would suggest other than that number. In other words, you can posit the negative, but you also posit the positive. I mean,
Are you,
just
are you,
don't
re-
sit.
are you referring to the surplus, the number 4, number 5?
No, I'm referring to, yeah, the surplus. That, for instance, if you say, well, you know, the town is saying, you know, we are saying that obviously the numbers say that over the years we've had a 5% surplus, and so if 5% is too much, then what do we want? What are we suggesting is a realistic number? In other words, just don't say, hey, wow, that's too much, and well, you know, what do we want?
I feel like, Deb and Bridget, did we talk about this? I feel like I might have at one point said
Yep, it's at the
1%
end.
is like $1 million.
Yeah, it's the
Did I say
ask
that?
at the end.
The last vote, yeah.
Oh, it's in the last, sorry.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this letter ends with a series of asks, and
Yeah.
we do say, that is one of our asks, is to lower from 5% to 4%.
Yeah.
So thank you, Irv, for leading us to that. That's gonna come later in the letter.
I think, given that comment, maybe we should go all the way through and then can go back up. How do you feel about that?
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay.
And as we're talking about this more, I mean, we did intend to put this letter before the committee. It would be great if we voted on it tonight, but also, you know, I voted against extending the meeting because I'm super tired, and maybe you all are tired as well. Maybe this isn't the maybe we don't have the freshest minds to be voting on this tonight. But anyway, we should still continue going over it. So we're at the table, and then there's 2 bullet points under the table, and we wanted to point out the second bullet point talks about there's a miscellaneous retirement line in the town's budget that refers to retirement payments for municipal employees, so for town employees and for Amherst district employees. And that goes up by whatever it needs to go up by. I think it went up by like 12%. But for the region, because regional employees are not municipal employees, that amount is included in our total. So that amount is going up by 12%, but meanwhile, our total budget's only going to go up by whatever, 3% or whatever Amherst agrees to. So there's like this inequity where for the municipality, for the town and for the Amherst School District, that piece is pulled out. And then that budget area gets the 3% or whatever increase, but for the region, it's included. Sorry, knocking things off. It's included, so it makes like it's pulled out. It just makes it causes for an inequity. So that's another ask that we're going to have later in the letter. So the next series of paragraphs. I'm sorry. I'm actually going to ask Deb or Bridget if you want to talk about this special ed information and data and how we're pushing back a little bit on the narrative.
Could you repeat the first part of it?
Can you take
What did you just say?
The next couple of paragraphs.
Oh, okay.
About yeah.
So I think what happened in the letter is that there's a narrative that is really trying to point to the fact of the school district, or the regional school district, being, you know, fiscally irresponsible, of not cutting in line with the number of teachers who are cut, et cetera. And what we want to show is that there's different historical trends there, including the fact that the amount that the district gets overall as a percentage of the town budget has gone down, that that there's different pieces here that just don't align with the type of portrayal of the district and its spending practices and the reasons for those as are presented in the letter. And from an Amherst Representative Committee member perspective, we see this over and over, the same sort of way of portraying the regional budget at the BCG and the FinCom, and these types of things are stated as fact, and we just want this committee to put forward that, you know, there's a set of facts that we can see from the inside, maybe that aren't as apparent to others.
Thank you. So that takes us through a description of a counter narrative to what has been talked about at the town council level.
Jennifer,
Um,
can I speak to that, the Northampton part?
Sure.
So that third paragraph, I guess we're talking about, I didn't pick Northampton randomly. That has been a district that has been pointed out to me as being one that we should compare our financials to. And I think it's important to also stress the disparities in the kind of district they are as opposed to we. And I don't mean in terms of the student population, I mean in terms of the expenses. So that their expenditures, per pupil expenditures, are much less because they do not pay benefits within the school budget. They do not pay retirement within the school budget. They do not pay for central office staffing within the school budget. I mean, they don't pay for the human resources part or the IT part. I think I covered everything. So I think Tracy Novick, when she came to speak to us, warned us about this. It's very easy to go onto DESE with their wealth of information and cherry pick or just pick out what seem like similar districts, but regional districts are very structurally different than districts that sit within cities, and it's just not an equal comparison.
Thank you. All right. Are we moving on to the, I have your name, Sarah. Can we save them
okay.
so we can go?
Thanks. Okay, so that brings us down to just before the page break, talking about the discussion of the fact that our schools don't have a spending problem, we have a funding problem, and that cuts to teaching staff have outpaced the decline in students over the last 20 years. In addition, the fact, that I feel like the town council often asks us to explain or points out that our number of students has declined while our operating budgets and our needs have gone up, and why that is. But this points out that while the overall student population has declined, the number of students who require extra services has not. And the increasing proportion of higher needs students is one of the things that contributes to our rising per pupil costs. In addition, that even though our number of students is declining now, we have legacy costs from our past years when we had a higher number of students and a higher number of staff. So overall, we've had to make level cuts to level services budgets for 6 of the last 7 years, totaling $5.7 million, and an overall reduction in services of 15%. And in those same years, student enrollment declined only 13%. So we also point out some things regarding the budget indicators presentation that was given to us in November last year. First of all, showing that the proportion of the budget represented by schools has dropped from 52 to 47% since 2016. And while that has happened, the Amherst budget's capital allocation has been an average of 10.7% per year and has increased a total of 75% from fiscal 18 to 25. I'm looking at this list now. Number 2, the town has allocated almost $4 million in the budget from free cash reserves for capital expenditures from fiscal 22 to 24, has increased the operating budget for the town sector an average of 3.4%, even though it exceeded its expenditures for those years, and has accumulated surpluses totaling $30 million for an average of over $4.3 million per year over the last 7 years. And about 80% of that went into stabilization funds. The town also allocated $11.6 million to the Capital Stabilization Fund in less than 2 years. So the town has fiscal management policies and objectives documented, which indicate an allocation of 10% of the annual budget to replace equipment and renovate and maintain existing buildings. And the town also has a master plan which states that adequate funding and staffing for Amherst schools is essential to maintaining a high-quality education for the community's children, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to read all those words. So I mean, ultimately, I'm just going to skip down to the asks because that's really the bottom line of what this letter states. Here are the things that we're asking of the town council. First, lowering the targeted surplus. 1 percentage point, and this goes to Irv's point, would mean an additional $1 million available for operating budgets. So just lowering the targeted surplus from 5% to 4% could make a big difference. We are asking them to allocate an additional amount to account for the 11.7% increase in the retirement costs. This is what I was talking about before, where the retirement costs for municipal employees is pulled out, but the retirement cost for the regional school budget is included in our budget. Adding a base increase of 1.7% in fiscal 25 and 26 as restitution for recent years when the equal distribution approach was not applied. I'm not exactly sure if we want to keep that one. Maybe that's something that we can discuss. And taking steps to rectify the imbalance in the end of year surplus distribution from which we were excluded for fiscal 25. Developing norms and practices that aim at true interdepartment equality and recognizing the need to contribute additional funds to the school district, to attend to gaps in equity. So those are the asks that we're asking for of the town after having described sort of where we find ourselves and how we find ourselves in this moment. I'd be happy to take questions now.
Okay, so I have Tillman and Sarah both had questions, and we have 6 minutes.
So thanks for putting that letter together. I'm trying to understand how I should think about that in the context of the region. In particular, are we sending similar letters to the other towns? Are we having just the Amherst members vote on it? Or let's say if I wanted to abstain because it's kind of not my town and I don't feel in a position to tell the town of Amherst what they should be doing with their money. So what's the plan there? I just want to know what your thinking is.
We haven't yet discussed letters to the other towns. That is certainly something we can consider doing and possibly using this as a model or a template, although the issues with the other towns is very different. I don't think it makes sense for only the Amherst members of the regional school committee to vote, because the Amherst members of the regional school committee, constitute the Amherst school committee, but within the context of the regional school committee, the Amherst members aren't a body in and of ourselves. And like the non-Amherst representatives, you're not from the town of Amherst, but you're still part of the regional school committee, and the regional school committee has needs, and yeah, you get it.
Can I follow up with one thing? So, but in the letter, we're making the point that Amherst is not the one town that can dictate the budget. So I feel we should then also not act as if Amherst is the one town that dictates the budget, and that's why we're writing a letter to just them.
Replying to a letter.
Well, yeah, we're replying to a letter that they sent us. For sure, we can consider writing letters to the other towns, and if that's something that you want to.
I'm not sure I want the extra work. I'm just trying to understand what my answer will be when somebody from Amherst rightfully asks me, why are you sending a letter to us and not to Leverett?
Well, sure. I mean, if Leverett had sent us a letter, we would probably want to respond similarly, but we're responding to.
That's a fine explanation. Thank you.
Sarah?
Thank you. So I want to talk about paragraph on the second page. So if you could scroll up, the one starting the regional school district data. And then there's footnote 6, right there at the top. Yep. So I think that this point would be.
Sorry, I can't see. Tell me again where you are.
The regional, so page 2, the second full paragraph after the second bullet, the bullet at the top starts.
Excuse me. I just put my cursor in that spot. So go to the doc where I am. Jennifer, if you go into the document where I put my cursor.
On an iPad, I can't really see.
Oh, okay.
Never
All right. So
that's okay.
it begins the regional school district data, then cited to support claims of overspending. So that's near the top of page 2.
That's it.
Are you there?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So so you're referring to the council's letter, and I looked back at it, and they're presenting a lot of data that they've pulled out of DESI, presumably. I think this point would be strengthened if if you noted that according to the data they present, the proportion of students with disabilities rises by 5.5% over the time period that they've selected. So that is a significant and important change.
You're saying the proportion of students with special needs rose by 5%?
Yep.
Thank you.
So
Put us
in 2010, they have students with disabilities enrollment is 19.7%, and then in 2024, it's 26.3%. It may be fewer students overall, right? But it's a larger proportion of the student body.
If their data is accurate.
Right, well, it's fine, it's their data. Their data are showing the proportion of students with special needs,
That's
disabilities.
an increase of 36%, depending on how you calculate.
Yeah, I could, right, yeah. So I would offer that. And then down to the ask, the next to last bullet. Says they're asking them to consider developing norms and practices that aim at true interdepartmental equality. Well, we asked for 6% last year, which was more than other departments gave, and I think we're asking them to consider regularly giving us more, right, than other departments because of our special the inequities we're trying to fix. So I'm not sure I would put that in there. You might want to reconsider that. Or they'll say, okay, then fine, you're getting what our other departments get. And that seems to argue against the initial point of letting Amherst set the, set the direction for the budget.
Right, so I have oh my God, Bridget. William, Deb, and Tillman, and like -1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would just quickly say, yes, I agree with what Sarah said on that last bullet point. And I wanted to just talk quickly to what Tillman said about why Amherst. First, Amherst has sent us 2 letters now. But also, if you go back and look at the last 4 towns' meeting minutes, you'll see each other town saying, we could do 4, we might even be able to do 6. We could do this or we could do that. Where the other towns are is we come forward and we present our students' needs and what we're trying to do, and then they try to meet them as best they can, where Amherst is trying to put forward, I think, this predetermined, limited thing that starts from the economics. And so we wanted to just respond to that so that we have some ability to shape the discussion in Amherst, and this committee needs to do that, I think.
Deb?
Yeah, so to Sarah's point, the mid-year increases that sometimes the town sector gets averages out, so over that 7-year period, and the town gets an annual increase of 3.4% compared to the region of 3%. So there's a built-in process in which once our budgets are set, they're set, but the town's budgets are not. And so even with our 6%, let me pull it up, but there's a year that without much ado, the town sector got an increase of 5.3%. After the fact.
Right. Can I respond?
Yeah.
In negative 2 seconds. I think that's a different point. That isn't what I would say that next to last bullet is talking about. So I would just urge you to reconsider that.
Okay.
Tillman?
I move to adjourn.
Second. Bridget?
So close. Yeah, I'm going to say no.
Sarah?
No.
Deb?
No.
Tillman?
Yes.
Anna?
No.
William?
No.
Jennifer?
No.
Irv?
Yeah, right. I really do not wish to go on. I'm
So,
exhausted.
so,
So it doesn't make any difference. The vote's already gone against what I'm going to do anyway, so I'm going to say no.
Thanks for leaving me hanging.
I'm gonna vote with Tillman, yes. But we still lose Tillman.
I think we're about to lose.
All right, yeah, Dr. Z.
I'm going to ask to be excused because I need to be up early in the morning to determine the weather and the conditions for schools. So I would like to be home at a decent hour this evening. So as much as the superintendent may need to be here, I also need to make sure my children are safe in the morning. So thank you.
Have a good evening.
So I make a motion that we can extend the meeting by 10 minutes.
I think we have to do 30.
Oh, sorry.
Has to be 30.
So I make a motion to extend the meeting for 30 minutes.
Second.
William and then Anna.
That would be a question for
All right. Bridget.
Yes.
Deb.
Yes.
Tillman.
No.
Anna.
Yes.
William.
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
We're all so sad. Irv.
No.
I'm gonna vote no also, but we.
I didn't vote,
Oh,
but I don't,
Sarah, I'm
but
sorry.
I don't know what, is this to extend by
Yes, it's
30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Well, now I have to say yes, so, yeah.
Okay.
What?
You don't have to stay there.
Can't vote.
Is that?
someone sign me out.
I will,
sign
I
you
will,
out.
yeah.
The person who
I will-
disseminates the information.
I will.
Yes.
Yes. I will make sure
Thank
you are
you,
signed
Sarah.
up. Okay. Are we can?
Oh,
Are
Sarah, you didn't ask.
Jennifer.
Oh, hi, Jennifer. Yes.
Well, so, okay, you've all seen the letter now. We've been through it. I'm not gonna call for a vote on it tonight. My brain is not very fresh. Can you all, don't comment in the document, because that will be deliberating.
Right.
So just email me any comments you might have, any suggestions, any place where you're like, I don't think we should say that. Actually, if you could email Jennifer, Bridget, and Deb, that would be great. And then we will take it under advisement and bring it back at the next regional school committee meeting.
Okay.
So including the comments we've already made, just to
No,
be
Sarah,
short?
I've taken your comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Deb, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to provide a little context, and I'll be really brief. So at the Amherst Town Council meeting last night, when I referred to this before, the school committee, the town council declined to appoint a representative and made it clear in the conversations that their attendance at town meeting four towns, sorry. There is no intention of them bringing forward any additional information. So this is the only way we have of communicating with them. Unlike the other towns who do meet their finance committees and do have conversations, there is no process for any kind of conversation beyond, this is what our budget guidelines are. They do not intend to go to four-town meeting, and I express this confusion, frustration. There is no conversation about our budget. It's just, we're here, and I'm not even sure why they come, except maybe to receive information, but certainly not to contribute to a conversation around our budget needs. So, we do not meet, this body does not meet again before the next Four Towns meeting.
What's the point of having a four-town meeting?
That's a good question.
Maybe we should just all submit written statements about our finance.
Okay. So, if there are more comments on this letter, please forward them to the Financial Sustainability Subcommittee. Okay.
Thank you for doing this.
So, we have the annual agenda brought back from last time, which I don't know that it necessarily needs a vote on, but I do think some input would be great that we can then, base our our agendaing around. So if there are, we can do the same. If there are comments about this, if you want to forward them to me, I will bring it back next time with the comments, maybe just like in my chair's update, here's where we're going from here, and we can move forward with that. Okay, we do not have any gifts. Warrants, we're no longer reading, and I don't have any, and we're working on it, okay. Is there any future agenda planning that anyone would like to talk about now?
The BRIM system,
Brim,
the bullying reports and harassment data.
that's all the same,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like we're due for a track and field update.
Okay. BRIM, harassment data, and there was a bullying.
Can we have an attendance update as well?
Track and fields.
You mean like absenteeism?
Yeah, that. Sorry.
Absenteeism. Bridget?
And SEAC is ready to present
Okay.
when it's time, but let's coordinate on dates because my co-chair is out of town 1 week a month.
Okay, perfect. Did you have a?
Just a question about the absenteeism. You just want the general data by school or grade or?
Like progress or?
Yeah, I just want to formulate the
Yeah.
query sufficiently clear so
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Do you want to email me?
Yeah,
With-
sure.
Great.
I don't want you to work on things that can,
Good, thank you for
too much
that.
work.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Was that Sarah?
Yes. Gleefully.
Are we, how do you vote, Jennifer?
Yes.
Irv?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Tillman?
Surprisingly, yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
And Sarah Vess? We are adjourned. Thank you
Thanks,
all.
everyone.